We all know that Fallout 4 is full of countless locations that we can explore, loot, and build upon, and these can vary from anything ranging from cathedrals and hotels to underground subway stations and factories, and practically almost anything in between. But there are some very interesting locations that don't always appear on your map, and they should definitely be checked out. At some of these locations, you can encounter hidden boss battles, awesome Easter eggs, get incredibly rare weapons, amongst other things. So in this video, I've decided to go over 10 of these locations, and I'll be telling you where you can find them and what you can find there. If by the end of this video you think there are some other awesome locations that I've missed off the list, why not leave a comment below letting us all know what that is and where to find it. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. Now, these 10 locations are in no particular order, by the way, but first up we have the crashed UFO, and for this one you actually need to be at level 20 or above in order to be able to come across it. Supposedly, you can actually hear and see this UFO crash in the game once you've hit level 20. There are too busy exploring to take any notice of it, because apparently, I don't remember it happening. Anyhow, it is an unmarked location on the map, but you can find it if you head southeast of Oberland Station, which, if you've done any of the Minutemen quests, should be on your map fairly early on in your game. Now, you can't enter the UFO or gain any salvage from it, but the UFO crash site isn't the only interesting thing about this location, because you should see on the ground there is some green blood, and if you follow its trail, you'll be led to a nearby cave where you will come across an alien with an alien blaster pistol. Now, this alien will attack you on sight, but it is pretty darn easy to kill, maybe because it's already crippled from the crash. But once you kill it, you can then take the alien blaster pistol for yourself, along with nearly 300 ammunition for it. Now, don't go wasting this ammo because, predictably, alien blaster ammo is difficult to come across, though you can modify the blaster to be able to use fusion cells instead. Now, next up we have another unmarked location on the map, and that is Carhenge. You know, like Stonehenge, just with cars. It's like a weird monument created out of destroyed cars because obviously these cars are no longer useful. And this location can be found directly south of Walden Pond. But lurking within Carhenge is a super mutant behemoth, which will attack you on sight if you get anywhere near it. Now, as you can see, I decided to check out this location from a distance because I found out that the behemoth is way above my current level, so instead of deciding to attempt to kill it and probably dying myself then and there, I'm going to go back to it after I'm gaining a few more levels. Though, by all means, folks, try and take it out. I do think you'll be able to get some valuable loot from it if you do. Moving on, how about a sort of hidden location within another location? Now, if you make your way to Maiden Middle School and head on down to the basement of it, you will find the entrance to Vault 75. In Vault 75, you will find a bunch of gunners to kill, unless of course you have actually finished the main story before you visited it. In that case, you will be presented with different enemies depending on the choices you made in the story. For example, if you sided with the Brotherhood of Steel or the Minutemen, you will find synths down there, whereas if you sided with the Railroad or the Institute, you will find Brotherhood of Steel forces down there. Now, the vault itself has a creepy and disturbing background history, which I won't go into detail in this video because where's the fun in me spoiling that for you? What you want to do is go to Vault 75 and find out these disturbing secrets for yourself, so go ahead and check it out. Now, we have a small but cool unmarked location which can go by the name of Rocket Shed, and you can find it northeast of Relay Tower 0BB-915. And you can also spot it from quite a distance away because it sits upon a cliff overlooking the valley below. Inside the shed, you'll find the remnants of a pyromaniac with shelves of propane canisters and 3 more canisters loaded onto what appears to be makeshift launchers aimed over the rest of the Commonwealth. You can grab and throw these canisters if you so desire and then perhaps shoot at them from a distance using your sniper. But there are no particular enemies nearby in the ground below, so it might be quite pointless, but fun because explosions, you know. Another benefit of visiting this small rocket shed location is whoever this pyromaniac was, they were kind enough to leave behind ample supply of ammunition, so get yourself stocked up. This location will actually become marked on your map once you've discovered it, but I thought it was worth mentioning anyway, for one very specific reason, which I'll get onto in just a second. But that location is Old Gullet Sinkhole. You won't be surprised to know that it's a giant crater-like hole, and you can find it north of Malden Middle School and west of Greentop Nursery. If you decide to delve into the sinkhole itself, you'll find some dead raiders, the corpse of Ibrahim, and the only way back out of the thing is past a pack of feral ghouls. But there is a decent amount of loot down there, but nothing too rare. Anyway, the reason I mention this location is because wandering around the sinkhole on the outside is a deathclaw, but not any old deathclaw. This one is friendly, sort of. It will happily ignore you whilst it's wandering around, even if you're stood right in front of the thing, and it will keep ignoring you unless you decide to fire on it, and then it'll attack you. So maybe don't do that. But it's pretty cool to see a friendly deathclaw nonetheless. Moving on, we have Vital Pump House, or Vitali Pump House, or however you want to pronounce it. That's not important. But what is important with this location, which by the way is also unmarked, is it is going to get you a super rare pistol by exploring it. So you can find this pump house just south of the Hub City Auto Wreckers and east of Finch Farm. The location itself is only very small and contains just a couple of rooms. Inside the first room you will see a locked door and a machine with some buttons on it next to it. Now if you have a look around you'll see the numbers 0451 written on the walls, and that may make you think, right, that's the code, but it's not, because higher up on the wall there is also a number 1. So the actual code you need to input is 10451, and you'll need to enter this into the button machine thingy, whatever it is. So press each button until you see 10451. So the first button 10 times, second button 4 times, and so on. And then try the door and it should open. Within that small room you'll come across a red skeleton. Why it's red I don't know. And next to its hand on the floor will be that unique weapon, the Gainer. And that's all at this location, so let's move on to the next one. And that next one is called Shenley's Oyster Bar, which is an unmarked location in the Back Bay area of Boston, which is also nearby the next location in this video, but let's stick with this one for now. Shenley's Oyster Bar is on the block immediately west of Hubre's Comics, and the bar can be accessed via a short alley to the east and south of it, but be wary, these alleyways are mined and guarded by a single turret, and there may also be raiders lurking around, so keep an eye out for those as well. But inside the bar you can loot a steel sword and an iron helmet. But that's not the only fun things you can find in this. You can also find an Easter egg here as well, which is a reference to the Saw film. On the top floor of the bar, near the roof exit, there is a skeleton with its right arm handcuffed, and there happens to be a hacksaw nearby. Now if you've seen the Saw films, you'll likely recognise this scene here. Let's move on to the next location, which is Prost Bar. Now, Prost Bar is an unmarked location in the Back Bay neighbourhood of Boston, just southwest of the Massachusetts State House and directly west of the gazebo in Boston Common. Now, if you explore this bar, you'll not find any enemies, just a load of skeletons inside the complex. What makes this location interesting is the bar is a replica from the bar from the television show Cheers, which ran from 1982 to 1993, and it was set in Boston, hence the Easter egg to it in Fallout 4. There are several references to the show inside the bar, including several baseball posters, 2 skeletons behind the bar referencing Sam and Diane, 2 skeletons sat at the bar referencing Cliff and Norm, and yet another skeleton in the corner of the bar referencing Fraser, who had his own spin-off series. And if you're wondering why the bar is called Prost Bar, that translates to Cheers from German, which is a further reference to the show, so go ahead and check it out. This next location is a super small one and you can't really get any particular loot from it or anything like that. But there is a crazy cat cabin just to the southeast of Walden Pond, and this cabin was clearly the home of a feline-obsessed individual. And obviously the cats never left after their owner presumably perished, because there are multiple cats roaming around the cabin and various cat murals on the wall. But yeah, that's about it for this one. It's a pretty cool location. But also, when I visited, there was a merchant trader there to barter with. I'm not entirely sure if they'll always be there or not, but as far as I know, the trader isn't the crazy cat person. The final location for this video is another unmarked one, and it is Milton Parking Garage. You can come across this in the south central part of the map, just north of Fallon's department store and west of Milton General Hospital. And this one is a pretty unique location within Fallout 4, and it's a pretty big one at that. So I won't go into great detail of the entire complex because it'll take a while and you'll have more fun exploring it yourself without knowing what's around the corner. But the basic premise of it is over multiple floors, and this building is basically a maze which is full of traps and radioactive barrels. So you want to keep your wits about you in here and make sure that you keep an eye out around every corner for traps and various other things out to kill you. On the fourth floor is where it gets interesting and where the best loot can be found. You'll find 2 steamer trunks within 2 cells, but there is a catch. You'll only be able to unlock one of these cells by pressing the red button beside that cell, and then pressing that red button will destroy the loot in the other cell. So make sure you choose wisely, folks, because you've only got one life. And by life, of course, I mean attempt. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if there are some really awesome unmarked locations that I have not included in this video, why not leave a comment below telling us what that location is and whereabouts we can find it. The more but lesser known locations we can get in the comments, the better. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you some lesser known locations to check out in Fallout 4. And if you are still here, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can now become a channel member as well, and as always, thank you for watching this video, and I'll hope to catch you in the next one.